In 1973, Enter the Dragon was released. It made Bruce Lee the biggest star in the world. But just 6 days before this, he had mysteriously passed away at just 32 years old. Almost 52 years on, his legend remains as strong as ever. Many call him the GOAT of martial arts stars. Many consider him unbeatable, although Tarantino didn't seem to think so. He, along with Muhammad Ali, is perhaps the most famous figures in physical fighting of all time. But how good was Bruce Lee actually? Throughout this series so far, we've covered action stars like Jackie Chan, Tony Jaa, Wesley Snipes, Van Damme, and others. And Michelle Yeoh sits at the top, just in front of Jackie Chan. But can Bruce Lee beat them all? The criteria used to judge these stars, just so that it equals the playing field, is skills, movies, screen presence, versatility, and legacy. When it comes to skills, this is based on what the individual star has been trained in, whether at a young age or throughout their career. Bruce Lee's foundation was Wing Chun, which he studied under the guise of the legendary Ip Man. This was his core discipline, but he went on to learn various other martial arts, like boxing, of which he won the Hong Kong Inter-School Championship in 1958, fencing, judo, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, Muay Thai, and wrestling, as well as weight training and calisthenics, philosophy, and biomechanics. And from all of this, he transformed this into his own martial arts philosophy called Jeet Kune Do, translated to the way of the intercepting fist. His speed and his philosophy within the arts made him almost unstoppable. Out of this series so far, he is 100% the GOAT when it comes to skills, and this will earn him a 10.
Perfect.
For movies, well, Lee was a child star and starred in about 20 movies between 1941 and 1950. And then he progressed into television work as an adult with a few key appearances, most notably in The Green Hornet and in the Batman crossover episodes. So this was kind of a crossover before the Arrowverse on the CW.
That's why he brought me.
What the fuck is going on here?
But for movies, as an adult, this is where his legend truly was formed, with The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, and of course, his biggest and most notable hit, Enter the Dragon in 1973. The movie made him an instant star, and it must be said, it is one of the best martial arts movies ever made. There's also the unfinished Game of Death, which was released in 1978, and thank God it wasn't made nowadays, or it would have been completed with AI.
Be water, my friend.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Now, Enter the Dragon is one of the most important action movies ever made, but the rest of his work straddles between okay to good, and there isn't much of it. And this is where things get a little bit tricky, because he should really get a 6 here, but for just Enter the Dragon, he must get a 7.
What's in the box?
And his score here would have been much higher had he have gone on to live longer and make more movies. Screen presence is how good an action star holds the screen when they're front and center. For comparison, Steven Seagal got a 7.
Do you think they were doing with a making shark for girls' softball games?
Whereas Van Damme got a 9.
Sure. But only if you wear that dress.
This is an HR issue.
In short, when an actor is on screen, are you truly engaged? Bruce Lee, it has to be said, and maybe this is due to the mystery of his passing at a young age, or some of the interviews he gave during the course of his life, his screen presence is maybe top 5 in Hollywood history. Not just for an action star, but for an actor in general. He'd compare with a Brando, a Jimmy Stewart, a Denzel, Tom Hanks, Mel Streep, any powerhouse actor. And his screen presence is potentially beyond that of an Arnie or Will Smith in their prime. His face is as iconic as Che Guevara's on a t-shirt. It's a clean 10 here.
Perfect.
Versatility is how good the action star is at adapting to different genres and mediums. For example, Wesley Snipes is probably the best actor we've covered in the series so far, and grabbed himself a 10. Snipes excelled in comedies, action, drama, thrillers, and literally everything. Van Damme got a 5 because despite being an icon of 80s and 90s action movies, he barely tried anything but action movies, and even when he did give his best performance today, it was in an action movie. Bruce Lee unfortunately didn't get a chance to show off how good of an actor he could have been. Despite his father Lee Ho-chun being a well-known Cantonese opera performer and actor, Bruce didn't actually train as an actor, so it's debatable whether he could go on to do more than just fight movies. So, in short, this is a very tricky one, but we can only go by the evidence we have. Using the movies he starred in to judge his acting abilities, he's certainly top tier within the genre he excelled in. I can, however, only give him a 6 here.
Are you crazy?
And Legacy, well, this is a no-brainer, isn't it? He's the most important action star of all time, and like I said, he's comparable with a Muhammad Ali, a Pele, or Che Guevara. He far transcends movies and even martial arts. And this is without debate. People who have never seen a Bruce Lee movie know exactly who he is, and this goes across multiple generations, countries, and genders. So he gets a 10 here.
You win! Perfect!
And that's a final score of 43, and that puts him alongside Iko Uwais. Now, I'm not going to lie. This is the reason I was worried about doing Bruce Lee in this series. Based on the criteria set out in this series, the score is fair. But let's get it straight. Bruce Lee is the most iconic action star ever. Like I said, he transcends movies, he transcends martial arts. And maybe just another 10 years in the industry and he would have had a chance to have a better filmography and maybe have shown more versatility, which would, of course, have increased his score and taken him beyond Jackie Chan and Michelle Yeoh. But as always, I am keen to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Do you think he should get a higher score in movies or versatility? And if so, which marks should he get? Now, there will be a full Bruce Lee video in this series where I go into his history, his movies, his personal life, and the such, like I've done with all the action stars in the series so far. But I really wanted to do a video that kind of just highlighted the scoring system and focused on that specifically for Bruce Lee, because I know there's going to be hella debates in the comments about his score being only 43. And I knew that from the beginning of this series. But I really want to make a video that delves into just how incredible he was, and honestly, how important he is to all of these action stars in the series. Without him, it's very debatable whether a lot of these action stars would have been as great as they are. Anyway, thank you to all the recent Patreon members who've joined up recently. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And of course, the long-term patrons as well as the wonderful YouTube members. I would love if you could hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Peace out and big love.
Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Right, so as I was editing this video, it came to my attention that Bruce Lee actually done quite a few movies in his teens and early 20s, where he played quite a variety of different roles. Now, they weren't lead roles, but you can see from the footage on screen here, they've done a bit of comedy, I guess. Anyway, listen, I'm going to give him one more point for versatility, I think. Again, I think I'm maybe being a little bit too generous, but now, what that means is that from the score of 43, which put him alongside Iko Uwais, he now has 44, which puts him in 4th position, just above Tony Jaa. Now, I know that probably doesn't appease a lot of people watching the video. I think I'm going to do what I did last time in the Michelle Yeoh video. You guys tell me, should he get maybe an 8 for versatility and an 8 for movies? If that's the case, that bumps up his marks quite significantly and would probably set him alongside Wesley Snipes, maybe even Jackie Chan, but that's going to be quite hard. I feel like Enter the Dragon is the most definitive Kung Fu movie, or should I say the most important Kung Fu movie of Western cinema in that sense. And if you look at all the movies and games that have followed it, like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and there's so many movies where there's like a tournament and they all kind of copy the format of Enter the Dragon. I just feel it's such an important movie. Anyway, as always, big love, and I'll speak to you soon.